everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Glorious Wrestling Podcast. Today we will be going through our full predictions for the Survivor Series card. My name is Nick Negropontis, and I am joined by the Monday Night Raw to my Tuesday Night SmackDown, the mascot of the Glorious Wrestling Podcast, Dem Panopoulos.
This is true fantasy warfare becoming reality, isn't it?
One of the worst slogans I've seen for a pay-per-view ever.
Absolutely horrible. Horrible stuff indeed by WWE, but it's good to be here. It's good to talk about the upcoming pay-per-views.
That's true. I mean, another thing with that fantasy warfare thing, they're talking about, it's Raw versus SmackDown. We get to see these amazing fantasy matchups. Like, guys, the brand split was 3 months ago. We've seen these matchups.
Yes, no less than a year ago, so...
Yeah, okay, we'll get straight into the card, because one thing that we found really interesting in looking over this card is the fact that Survivor Series is a 4-hour pay-per-view. 4 hours, the same length as WrestleMania was this year. WrestleMania had, I think, 11 matches on its card. Survivor Series has 6. NXT TakeOver Toronto has 5 matches on its card, and it's a 2-hour show. This has one more match, and it's a 4-hour show.
And that extra match is presumably Lesnar Goldberg, which can't go for too long itself.
No, yeah, I would very much doubt Goldberg can go longer than 15 minutes. But anyway, we've gone through the rosters, and we can't see any other wrestlers who potentially even have a match.
No, especially with Reigns being tied up in the Raw. We discussed the fact that Orton and Wyatt, well, they're on the same team, so...
As you said, Kurt Hawkins versus Apollo Crews.
Yeah, no, well, that's the match. We don't deserve it, but we might see it,
I mean, I think Survivor Series needs a piss break match. It's got 6 matches on there that are all, pretty heavy matches.
Yeah.
It might need something like a Hawkins, a Crews, I keep saying Corbin for some reason, even though obviously he's not going to be on Survivor Series.
No, after that perfectly executed fall from the apron.
That was pretty good. I'm not going to lie, that was pretty good. That was well worked.
He sold it all right. Made him look like an idiot, but...
Yeah, it did. Anyway, we'll get straight into the card, starting with the Cruiserweight Championship match between Kalisto and the Brian Kendrick. It says Brian Kendrick, but it should be the Brian Kendrick. Where if Kalisto wins, the entire Cruiserweight division comes to SmackDown. Before we get into the match, the kayfabe in this right now, why would Mick Foley agree to this?
There is absolutely no... Well, unless Kalisto loses, he goes to Raw. That would have made a bit more sense.
Yeah,
that would have made sense.
I can understand the Intercontinental Championship. That's you lose the title, okay, but you don't lose any superstars. If Kalisto wins, Raw loses 15 superstars. Like,
yeah,
think about it. Like, there's even guys that haven't debuted yet, like Gallagher and Gargano and Ciampa, who are still technically part of the Cruiserweight division. Tozawa as well. Like, they all come to SmackDown now instead of Raw.
No, so I guess it makes it for an obvious result then. And we were all saying that why isn't Kalisto in the division to start with? Because he's clearly one of the best.
Yeah.
He's, by far and away, an elite talent.
Yeah, Kalisto and Neville are the two. Just mind-boggling that they're not being used there.
Absolutely. And, I mean, the stipulations to this match make it extremely unlikely that he can win.
Yeah, I've actually gone through, the reasons for and against whether they should move the division, and I can't see any good reason to move the division to SmackDown. Remember, Raw this week had the Golden Truth versus the Shining Stars. Okay? That was on a Raw that featured the Cruiserweights. You take the Cruiserweights out, and imagine what Raw would be like. Yeah. Imagine the R-Truth that we would get every week. The Raw needs the Cruiserweights, it just needs to book them better. Raw is doing what it needs to with the Cruiserweights, but not building the division into something that can be sustainable.
No, and with the 205 Live, that show coming up, they need more exposure on Raw to get it going. There won't be enough time on SmackDown for it to be effectively built up.
Not with the amount of superstars.
Exactly. So with the external show on there, I mean, it's obvious. Brian Kendrick wins. Yeah,
agreed. Brian Kendrick for me as well. And the other thing with 205 Live, apparently it's being filmed after the SmackDown tapings. So you wouldn't want to have the Cruiserweights appear on SmackDown and then 205 Live filmed afterwards. Because then, they wouldn't get any pops. People would be like, I've already seen these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So that one's probably the most obvious on the card.
Yep, I think the next one, which also features the possibility of the Intercontinental Championship switching brands, that one's less obvious, to be honest. I think the whole Ziggler-Zayn thing, it's a mouth-watering matchup. That is actually fantasy warfare, I would have to say. That's a match we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Considering there are only 6 matches on the card, they'll have to give them plenty of time.
Which is good.
Which is great. So it should be a fantastic match. How do you see it going now?
Well, I want to hear your theory first, because I really like your theory, and I somewhat agree with it.
Okay, so my theory is simply that I think no matter how this match ends, Sami Zayn ends up on SmackDown. That's the twist here. Because the whole stipulation of this match is, if Zayn wins, then the Intercontinental Championship comes to Raw. I think that needs to be flipped. Either Zayn wins the Intercontinental Championship and says, "See you, Stephanie," and goes to SmackDown, or you have The Miz get involved, disqualification ending, and Zayn comes to SmackDown either to hunt the Intercontinental Championship or just decides, okay, I've got my taste of what SmackDown is all about. I want to be part of this brand.
And it can build up a three-man feud.
Yeah.
Because we still want to see some Ziggler and Miz.
Absolutely.
I don't think we've been overexposed to it at all, so that'd be good. And Sami Zayn getting involved, I mean, imagine the matches on a regular basis. So I completely agree. I think it will end in disqualification because the Miz isn't on the card, and the Miz has to be on the card. The Miz has to feature somewhere in the show.
Yeah.
And because he's nowhere else, he'll find himself in this match. He'll get involved.
We do have Miz versus Ziggler for the Intercontinental Championship on SmackDown this week. I mean, I assume Ziggler just retains and moves on. What they do there, I think there has to be like some kind of shenanigans ending.
Yes.
Maybe not to the level of like Bliss Becky, but have some kind of like dispute in the match. Ziggler retains, and then Miz gets involved in Survivor Series, and Zayn has to find his way to SmackDown. I think no matter how this match ends. So I guess at the end of the day, we both see Ziggler retaining his title.
Yeah, Ziggler will stay as champion, but the way he does it will be the one to look out for.
It'd be very interesting if they just go put the title on Zayn. He goes to Raw for a couple of weeks, gets treated crap, and he's like, "See ya, I'm off to SmackDown with this belt."
Yeah.
See, one thing that I'm interested in before we get into the big three Survivor Series elimination matches is there has to be a stipulation for these three matches. There has to be bragging rights isn't enough. Like it was enough in 2005 when you had the Raw vs SmackDown, which had 3 or 4 years of building up to this.
Yeah, exactly. There's only 3 months, 4 months behind it.
No.
I mean, you saw the crowds weren't exactly, as Team SmackDown, we have to beat Team Raw. The crowds weren't really popping.
No,
I mean, because no one's invested in it. So
there's no Raw crowd or SmackDown crowd. It's just the wrestling crowd going to whichever event is in their town.
Exactly. So, you need to build that up. So I agree. And I was looking at it and I was thinking, you need to have some stars swapping or some sort of...
Yeah. There are only 2 stipulations that I think would work, and you have to have Vince McMahon come out and sort of address... And Raw this week is the perfect time, considering both commissioners will be there. So I think that there are only 2 possible stipulations that will work. Either one, the losing general manager is fired, which might be a bit extreme, but that would be either Foley or Bryan gets fired. And to me, that would be how you involve Triple H in the finish. You have Triple H cost Team Raw the win. Foley is fired, Triple H inserts himself as a general manager. Or you take the easier approach and just say the winning brand gets 2 draft picks. And then that's how you can work Zayn going into SmackDown or Neville going to SmackDown or something like that, which is badly needed. The only issue with that is obviously Monday Night Raw are not going to win. Because, Matt, you can't have Raw taking stars from SmackDown. No chance in hell.
No.
But I still think that is a necessary stipulation to add, just to add some tension and some reason for both brands to invest heavily in this.
Yes, no, absolutely, I agree.
Okay, so we'll start with the tag team match because that's obviously the least significant of the 3. It's a 10-on-10 Survivor Series match, but we haven't been told whether it's going to be like standard elimination or whether it's going to be one member of the tag team is eliminated. They're both eliminated.
That's going to take hours if it's 20 men. Eliminate 20 guys.
I really hope that it is just one man gone, both gone. Because
and you hope the shining stars are like straight away.
Yeah,
within a minute, or one of those ones where someone gets eliminated, then the shining stars come in, and then 20 seconds later there's a straight elimination.
They usually do. Every year they have one where someone gets eliminated right off the bat, and I think that'll be the one where, like, I don't know, maybe you have American Alpha just eliminate them in the first second of the match. That would be. I mean, why else would you have the shining stars in there?
I've come around to their theme music.
No, that's not bad. No, I agree.
That's about it.
Yeah. I do like the idea of them selling timeshares to both Slater and R-Truth. That's been reasonably humorous. And I want to see Slater get some vengeance on them for... So I think he sold them $500 worth of shares. Poor Slater. Anyway, so who do you have winning the match overall?
I think it has to be Team Raw only because of the quality of Team SmackDown. I mean, it doesn't really touch Team Raw's. You've got the New Day, Sheamus and Cesaro, who they're trying to build a lot. Gallows and Anderson, I mean, they're still rebuilding and trying to get themselves back up to that top echelon of the tag team division.
Yep.
Enzo and Cass. Whereas you look at SmackDown and what? I don't think people still take Slater and Rhino seriously.
Probably not. But I think, Rhino could still probably get 2 or 3 eliminations pretty easily in this match.
I think so, but I just I just feel that Raw has to win this one because you're not going to have a clean sweep of the three
No,
matches
no.
of one brand, and I think this is the easiest one for Raw to get the points.
Okay, I disagree. I think this is the one where SmackDown are going to win easily.
Okay.
I honestly think this is the one where SmackDown have the best chance of, because you can't have all three ending with a sole survivor. I think this is the one where SmackDown need to win comfortably, because I mean, if you look at the Raw team, you're right that there is a lot of talent there, but I think you can work around it. You can have Sheamus and Cesaro eliminated by their own infighting. Say maybe Sheamus eliminates someone, or bro kicks someone, Cesaro takes himself in, gets the pin. They're like arguing, and then Slater rolls one of them up, both eliminated. Enzo and Cass just have Enzo eliminated. I think there's another way you can get around that. Gallows and Anderson are being booked strong. You can probably have them go down to the wire and then get eliminated. I think that outside of Breeze and Fandango and maybe Ryder and Rawley, I think the rest of the teams maybe even survive. I think it might be a 3-0.
So I think this is a great opportunity to have the club,
Yeah.
the club look really strong in the end.
Yeah.
And I think that if they can get a couple of eliminations, if they can eliminate by themselves 2 or 3 tag teams from SmackDown, I think this is the best opportunity they have to build them up into something really powerful. And even over the next couple of months, I wouldn't be surprised to see them swap
Okay.
across.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised to see that at all. And then they can have, full control of the SmackDown division, and it still lets you have Usos versus Alpha as a rivalry, because that's a feud that we're expecting to see soon. So, you need to build up Gallows and Anderson. I think they've realised that they did the wrong thing to start with them. So I think, make them look strong in this match. I think they're going to be the stars of this match, and that's why I think Team Raw will win, because you can't have Gallows and Anderson, you're trying to build them up strong, which they've done over the past few weeks, only to, be really strong and then lose at the last bit.
Yeah.
I think they have to win.
Then again, they've been pretty up and down with Gallows and Anderson overall.
Overall, they have,
Yeah.
but I think they're building up to something.
Okay, so
and I think he needs to.
you have Gallows and Anderson the only sole survivors, or anyone else?
I think Gallows and Anderson and the New Day.
Okay, that'll be interesting to see how they celebrate post match when they can't stand each other.
Well, yeah, I think they'll take out the New Day themselves. I think
Okay.
they'll be sole survivors in the sense that they're not going to tag the New Day in. They're going to try and do it all themselves. So the New Day aren't going to be involved much towards the end.
Okay, I have Heath Slater and Rhino, as well as Jason Jordan and Chad Gable surviving, only to set up a match at TLC. I feel like if you've got like 2 weeks between Survivor Series and TLC, so you need to get the ball rolling immediately, and that just sets itself up. Okay, you guys were the 2 surviving teams. Alpha will give you a tag team title match at TLC. So that's how I see it. I don't want this to be a sole survivor situation, because I feel like you saved that for the next 2 matches.
Absolutely, so we'll cover the women's one next, and I know we all know you love the women's division, and you've got a lot of thoughts about it, so I want to hear your thoughts first on Team Raw versus Team SmackDown.
Well, I see this as the perfect opportunity to build a superstar, because that's what Survivor Series has traditionally been about, building a young star into a main event talent. And I think you can do that with Bayley in this situation. I have Team Raw winning this, because if you just look, it's like what you said with the tag teams. You can't have a team of Sasha, Bayley, Charlotte, and Nia Jax losing. I just can't see all 4 of them being eliminated. I mean, Alicia Fox will be gone within a minute, unless she starts talking about Brad Pitt for another 3 minutes and drags it out. But yeah, I see Team Raw winning this quite comfortably, because if you look at the SmackDown side of things, it almost doesn't make sense for them to win. You've got Nikki Bella and Carmella on one team, Bliss and Becky on one team, and then Naomi sort of the throwaway 5th member. They've got too much. There's not enough cohesion there for them to go over a team as strong as Team Raw is. I would still have Bayley as the sole survivor, and I want her to get the eliminations of Carmella and Alexa Bliss to end the match. I would have the 2 heels in Carmella and Bliss be the final 2 members of SmackDown, with Bayley as the final member of Team Raw. Have them beat up on her, and then Bayley overcomes the odds and wins. Also, because I want to see Bayley and Carmella go at it.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything except who the star is, who the one, and I think it'll be Nia Jax. I think you need to build up. Nia Jax, they're all scared of her. They've built her up, even though you haven't seen much of her on TV recently. Charlotte is scared,
Yeah,
she's been Bayley, set up a feud with her and Sasha Banks, pretty easily. I think they need to have her destroy it.
Yeah, they could do what they did with Roman, a few years ago. He got 3 eliminations and really broke out. They could do that with Jax, absolutely.
So I think Nia Jax is going to be the star of this match,
Yep.
which will really elevate her, because Bayley doesn't need it.
That's true.
I mean, Bailey, they're building her as the underdog. They're building her as the one that surely she can't win. She can't beat Charlotte, surely. But everyone knows Bailey. Everyone loves Bailey.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Bailey's a star. So I don't think there's an issue there. You don't need to build up Charlotte, Sasha Banks. You don't need to build up Alicia Fox. And then
Jesus.
SmackDown, as you said, there's a lot of feuds going on within the SmackDown team already.
Yeah.
I think Jax, this is perfect for Jax to really, and it's the opposite. I think, she can beat Nikki Bella and Alexa Bliss to finish off, but I think she will stay strong and dominate this, and she'll be the one standing at the end. So I agree with Raw, but I think Nia Jax.
My idea, I guess, in my way, you'd have Jax eliminated probably by a count out. I mean, you'd have to keep her strong no matter what. If she is to be eliminated in the match, you give her the Rusev treatment or something and just have her counted out. I think that's the best way to go about it if you're going to have her eliminated. The interesting part is, in both of our situations, you got the SmackDown Women's Champion in Becky, you got the Raw Women's Champion Charlotte and Sasha, who don't really feature in. So how do you eliminate Charlotte, Sasha, and Becky in this kind of match, especially considering can you do all three clean? Who gets the eliminations of Charlotte and Sasha from Team SmackDown?
Well, that is a tough one, and to an extent Bailey as well. The Four Horsewomen. I think Dana Brooke gets involved with the Bailey one, maybe even the Sasha one. I know they're on the same team, but I think Dana's got a bit of jealousy there that she's not in that spot. They can build that into it, because I don't think Charlotte and Dana's, as strong as
no, I think they've basically quietly separated them.
So, Dana is the manager, I guess, or she'll be involved somehow, so maybe she'll accidentally do it.
I guess you have Natty on the other side of the ring as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, this is a good opportunity to give someone an elimination. Maybe Nikki Bella will, because Charlotte's been bad-mouthing Nikki Bella a couple of times in particular, so maybe you can do that. I'd like to see Alexa Bliss get a crucial elimination just to prove that she is one of the top stars in the women's division across all brands.
Absolutely. I guess we'll see Becky and Alexa at TLC. So however this works out, both of them need to come out looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we both have Team Raw winning.
Yeah.
So you have Raw winning the first two.
Yeah.
And so the thing is over before the main event. No, you have not thought this through.
No, I don't think it really matters.
So the bragging rights have already been sealed up before the main event, or the third match.
Who knows if the men's match will be the last one?
That's a good point.
I reckon the women's one will be the last one.
Fair enough. I think you're just backtracking on purpose here.
I am a little bit,
but yeah, I think Raw win this, SmackDown win the tag teams, but
yeah, okay.
I guess there's a reason one of us writes booking articles and the other doesn't. Sorry, I just had to toot my own horn there. Anyway.
You're a savage, as usual.
Okay, so, I guess we have to move on to the third tag team elimination match, even though I think this should main event ahead of Lesnar and Goldberg. Raw and SmackDown competing here. You got 10 superstars who are all main event caliber talents, and then on the outside you have James Ellsworth, which I think is fantastic because it'll just show that the WWE Universe get behind whoever they want to get behind.
Absolutely.
And you'll have 10 guys in the ring who are absolute main event talent. I mean, maybe 9 if you don't include Strowman.
Or 8.
Who else is there?
Shane McMahon. I don't know if he's
Fair
a main
enough.
event
I mean,
talent.
He's main event in terms of popularity, I guess. And then you have Ellsworth on the outside, who will probably get the majority of the chance. What I find really questionable about this match is the fact that you have 6 heels and 4 faces. You could essentially, because Orton's a heel at the moment, even though he's probably just pretending.
Yeah.
He's still a heel. You got Bray and you got AJ. And on the other side, you got Owens, Jericho, and Strowman. The weird part is, because we're in Canada, Owens and Jericho are essentially more face than they usually are.
Yes.
Because we're in Canada. And then you look on the SmackDown side and you've got a total of 0 Canadians. And yet I think that SmackDown need to be the babyface team going into this. And yet they can't be, because they've got 3 heels, 2 faces, whereas Raw have essentially what is just Strowman as someone who's going to get a negative reaction.
Yeah.
So,
or Roman Reigns will as well.
True, but he still will wrestle as a face.
He's a face, yeah.
I don't know how they get around that, because it's almost like what they did with Noam Dar, setting him up as... I mean, it made sense after the match, but during the match, it just ruined the entire you know, complexity of the match. And this will probably be a similar thing, because I think SmackDown need to be the underdogs fighting from underneath in this match. How do you see it going down?
Well, I think SmackDown win.
Yeah.
And I think this is the opportunity to have Jericho and Owens split up in Canada, or split up, fight between each other, create the whole thing, and Reigns gets involved, Rollins gets involved, because they're all involved in the main event, except for Strowman. The four of them are in the main event picture.
Yeah.
The title picture. So, with having that, you have to create infighting. You have to create that sense of Rollins is screwed by Owens and Jericho constantly. Reigns doesn't like Owens and Jericho. Owens pinned Jericho last week.
Yeah.
Or 2 days ago, whenever it was. There has to be infighting, and, SmackDown has its own infighting. It'll have Ellsworth will no doubt get involved. This creates Harper can get jealous, continue to get jealous.
I love what they're doing with that.
So, I think, SmackDown has to win, and I think it will lead to Owens and Jericho fighting between each other.
Yeah, I think there has to be some infighting between Owens and Jericho. You need to start building that, and this is the perfect time to do that. I don't think we'll see much infighting on the SmackDown side of things.
No, not too much, and I think Shane McMahon will be involved in keeping that.
The biggest potential matchup I think we have here is the potential...
Shane McMahon versus Braun Strowman?
I was thinking Strowman and Ellsworth. Think about that. It was the match that started everything with Ellsworth, and he'll be in there... I mean...
To end Ellsworth's career.
You have to set that up. You have to get Strowman and Ellsworth in the ring together at one stage.
I don't mind Strowman now.
No, same. He's been good. I mean, keep him out of matches longer than 5 minutes in singles competition. But... yeah, he's
a monster.
As a monster, he's all right.
How do you feel Shane McMahon get, what does he do here? He's the fifth member. He's replaced Baron Corbin, who could have used a bit of a push here.
I think, I'll just say, I don't mind what they're doing with Corbin. I think that's a really smart move. It keeps him really well in character.
Okay.
So, I don't mind that, but yeah, you're right with Shane McMahon. He can't, if you look at the other team...
He can't be the sole survivor and win it.
There is nobody on the other team who I would be okay with Shane McMahon eliminating. Nobody. I mean,
I can only see him eliminating Jericho.
Or elbow off the top rope to Strowman through a table, and then double count out. And then you have McMahon and Strowman eliminated via count out.
Okay, that's a way to get rid of him.
There's a way to get rid of Strowman, because I can't see Strowman being eliminated clean. So.
Well, no, and you can't do it to him.
No, so I think somehow you have to, eliminate him, and I think maybe an elbow through the announce table would be the way to do that.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just trying.
No, it's not bad.
He doesn't really fit in, does he? SmackDown really didn't have any other options if they wanted to take Corbin out, and they had to take Corbin out because otherwise it was 4 heels and Ambrose. So I think they had to get a babyface in there, and there really wasn't another option unless you go with, say, Apollo Crews, who doesn't have the star power to be in this match.
Or ask John Cena to just come back for one match.
Yeah, but then you have to get rid of someone as another main event talent, and you have to work out how to eliminate him. So I think, however this works out, Shane McMahon needs to go pretty cheaply.
Yeah.
The other, I can't see. That's the problem with this match, is they've got a 4-hour show, and none of the world titles are being defended. They're all in this match, and the problem that creates is you've got Owens and Jericho and Reigns and Rollins all on one team. How do you eliminate them? How do you eliminate such a strong team? If you look back at the Cena versus Team Authority match, you still had guys like Rowan and Ryback and Harper and Kane who you could eliminate clean because, they're sort of upper mid-carders. But you look at this match and they're all main event talent. Even Styles, Ambrose, Wyatt, Orton. There's got to be clean eliminations. But how do you do it? This match is probably going to go for an hour.
Yeah, it has to. This has to be the match that, for a 4-hour show, this has to be the match that is the one that, holds it all together and keeps it that way. And it's genuinely puzzling unless you see Orton turn on Wyatt and RKO him and let them eliminate Wyatt or
it's
something.
Well,
yes, it is. You could have a spot where the Shield, the 3 Shield guys will be.
I would love to see that. The Shield just turn on both teams and just destroy everyone.
I don't see what else can happen. AJ Styles needs to get a clean elimination of someone.
Yep.
And I guess.
But you could say that for everyone. You could say that for literally all 9 guys minus Shane. It's insane.
It's too difficult to predict anything.
Yeah, it's so hard to predict how this.
Unless you have Styles eliminate Owens, champion. I know they're both heels, but
how does it? What do you think? How do you think it'll come down? You think SmackDown's going to win? Who is going to be remaining from the SmackDown team?
I think it might be Shane. I don't see why you'd include Shane and not have him and just have him cheaply eliminate. Otherwise, Styles, Ambrose, Ellsworth.
Or it comes down to like Styles who needs Ellsworth's help or something. That'd be hilarious.
something
Or
like
Ellsworth gets Styles eliminated.
Yeah, it has to be Styles or...
I mean, why else would you include Ellsworth? You have to have him involved in something, and maybe have AJ eliminated because of a Ellsworth distraction or something.
I don't think you can have Ambrose. The only one is maybe you can have Wyatt being the one that at the end he's standing. Orton gets eliminated, but he comes back, RKO's someone
Yeah,
to help Wyatt win.
I'm thinking you go back to your traditional Survivor Series roots here and have Orton as the sole survivor. I know it doesn't really lead anywhere, and like considering you have Bray and Orton still as a team, but I think
Whose music plays? Do you play the Wyatt family music?
that's a good point. I don't know. I think if Orton's the sole survivor, you play his music, but like Orton has built this reputation up as like the king of Survivor Series.
Yeah.
And the last time there was a Raw vs SmackDown match, Orton was the sole survivor. So I think if you're going to do that, at least have a throwback to that. And Orton's, believable.
But this is a genuinely intriguing matchup.
Oh, yeah.
And just to see, I mean, we got no idea.
I
You've heard us go through 10 possible,
Yeah.
possible endings, solutions.
You could have
like that.
all 10 guys as legitimate possibilities to be the sole survivor for this match.
Yes.
I think this is the most, maybe not the most anticipated match of the year, but the hardest to predict match of the year with easily the most talent of any match.
Yes, which is why it being a dead rubber doesn't make sense from my...
Yeah, it can't be a dead rubber. And it's amazing that it's also not the main event. That's insane.
Yeah.
Because Lesnar and Goldberg will be good, but it won't surpass, especially after an hour. How are you going to have a match follow that? The crowd is going to be dead.
Yep, I agree.
Anyway, we have to discuss it. So.
We should have a Golden Truth segment.
Yeah.
Just to break things up.
Miss TV.
Mr. Cutting Edge Survivor Series, Canada, Edge and Christian, I mean the Canadian.
Okay.
Well, I don't know, include them. Include them, I don't know.
Lesnar, Goldberg, what happens? Does The Undertaker play into it?
No.
No?
I don't see why he would.
I've been hearing people say that they want Undertaker versus Goldberg at WrestleMania.
No.
I agree.
That's ridiculous.
That would be awful.
I think it'll either be Undertaker versus Cena, Undertaker versus Orton. It's got to be one or the other.
I'm cool with either one of those.
Yeah, so I don't see Undertaker. You can't have Goldberg come back and lose clean. I know Sting didn't lose clean, but Sting came back and he lost to Triple H. But they can't have Lesnar lose to Goldberg.
No, you need to have Lesnar. I mean, after what
Lesnar has to win.
Think about what they've done with Lesnar this year. He beat Ambrose, disappeared. He beat Orton, disappeared. You can't have him. Oh well, he just lost to Goldberg. Oh well, there goes everything else he's done this year.
No, he has to win. But I don't know how you build this up. You have to get someone involved, and you have to probably set up a new feud for Lesnar.
Or you have Lesnar win clean. Goldberg he's like, crap. I lost my last match. What am I gonna do? Okay, so then he comes back later after the Royal Rumble and spears Roman Reigns or something. He's like, okay, I'm not having my final match in WWE be a clean loss. I think that would be the only other way to get around it.
Yeah. No, the problem with these fantasy matches when they become a reality is just the way it's all, the way it finishes, the way it ends. I mean, there's a lot of hypotheticals going around, but really, you can't have Lesnar lose. So
no, you can't.
We both agree that Lesnar wins.
Lesnar wins, and I think he wins clean.
Yeah, which is, and that's probably going to be a disappointing way to end the pay-per-view because people are going to go, well, what was the point of that? Why will Goldberg come back to lose? Yeah,
I mean, I guess you could say the same thing for Sting, though.
Well, yeah, but people are still saying, why did Sting come back just to lose?
Okay, that's fair.
Did Sting win a match?
No, he didn't. Oh, I guess he beat Big Show on Raw. I mean, does that count?
Legend of the industry, and that's...
Yeah.
I mean, I like Big Show, but... Yeah, but you have to... Yeah, or have Lesnar lose because someone else comes in and helps Goldberg, and it sets up a rivalry.
That is an interesting thing. Where does Lesnar go from here? Like, where could Lesnar even go from here? I don't.
A Shane McMahon?
I don't want that. That sounds really bad.
I know, but isn't that what they were setting up 3-4 months ago? I don't know what they do with Lesnar unless they have him destroy the Royal Rumble.
So basically, if you're still listening at this point, half an hour into our podcast, we really have no idea what's going to happen.
No, we should just recap who we think will win. So I think for the card, we'll go Kendrick, Ziggler, Team Raw from the tag teams, Team Raw from the women's, Team SmackDown for the men's, and Lesnar.
Back yourself in, even though you've got no hope of getting that prediction right.
All right,
I'm saying Kendrick retains, Ziggler or Zayn win by DQ. It'll be a DQ finish.
Yes.
Well.
I didn't mention that, but I think that as well.
Team SmackDown for the tag teams, Team Raw for the women, and Team SmackDown for the men, as well as Lesnar winning clean. And we have our own fantasy bragging rights in here.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Fantasy warfare between Dem and Nick in this tiny little crowded room with that weird.
Yeah, there's some sort of sounds just coming in the background. So
I think it might be a broken fire alarm, but anyway,
Hello.
if that place catches fire, I mean, at least this podcast will still probably get to air.
Yep.
Find a way. Anyway, we'll wrap it up there for our Survivor Series predictions video. We hope you enjoyed listening to it if you're still listening. You can follow us on Twitter at GloriousWP. You can follow me on Twitter at Nick Negropontis, and you can follow this one on Twitter
at DemP_9.
Thank you for listening. We'll be doing our